Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Okay, today I want to talk about a critical setup position that really sets Sergeites and the Peak Performance Golf Swing apart from just about everybody else. So I'm going to define what the world tells you to do, and we're going to talk about the PPGS way. All right, and as you know, everything in PPGS is 100% physics, physiology, and it's designed to make fewer angles the better. So we reduce motion, reduce margin of error. You reduce margin of error, you increase probability of success. All right, so preloaded heavy right, PLHR, naturally would be for a right-hander. PLHL will be for preloaded heavy left, would be for a left-hander. But since I'm a right-hander, I'll talk in terms of right-handedness because I know what I sense and what I feel. So the whole world has told us that basically you want to have a fairly wide stance, all right, which is a lot wider than us. Our stance width is usually basically the width we have for a driver is what most people say for a 5-iron, which should be insides of the feet to the shoulders, all right? The big most important key to the preloaded heavy right stance is that and absolutely, the right foot is in the same position with every club in the bag. The only foot that gets narrower or wider will be the forward foot. That's the foot that when we load onto the right and we start the bump, we drive to and then swing up and finish on. All right? The right foot's always in the same place. The way to find your right foot is to put a club underneath your armpit right here, any club, bring it back down, and it should touch the center to the inside center of your foot and come down somewhere depending on how much flare you have in your foot. If my foot was dead square, it would come down just about in the dead center of my foot. I flare my foot quite a bit, so it comes down slightly inside my right foot. We do believe in flaring of both feet. I flare a little bit wider because my feet naturally flare out more than an average person. All right, so depending on if you walk with your feet straighter and even pigeon-toed, you just got to make sure that being in that position, it's going to come down more from the center to the big toe. Mine always comes down inside the big toe. This foot is always the same. Now, preloaded heavy right means at that point, when I'm getting ready to hit, I'm just going to slide my weight over here a little bit like this. Now, I don't know if the camera can pick up my shadow. I don't think it can. But right now, my shadow is about right here. All right, when I get preloaded heavy right, it's going to move about 1 inch or 2 to the right. All right, and as it starts to move, I'm just moving this way. My head's also going to go a little bit this way. I see, if I'm standing straight like this and I go preloaded heavy right, I get a little bit more here. My left shoulder goes up a little bit higher. So with my head maintaining a right angle to my shoulders, my head is going to be actually a little bit farther to the right also than where if I was dead neutral. Okay? So now, the whole key to preloaded heavy right is, I call it's like you got to sit or sink into the position. I figured this out one day watching pitches. It was raining and I couldn't go outside or whatever, so I happened to watch a baseball game for a while. The pitcher starts like this. He gets back, stands up, gets all his weight for a right hander on the right leg, and then when he starts his windup, we know he's 100% loaded because he's going to pick his foot up to some degree. Roger Clemens and Nolan Ryan used to come way up like this, and some just come up a little, some come up in between. He's going to get here, and then he's going to push off. But realistically, he doesn't truly start his windup till he's all the way here. The tennis player getting ready to serve, they dribble the ball like this, they're way forward, they come back, they get on their back foot, they settle in on their back foot. You can see that a little bit more flex comes into the knee, all right? When you flex, you're actually what I call loading. The right leg is receiving the weight. Okay, so they get in here, they throw the ball up in front, and they go that way, and then they go get it. So I noticed that both baseball pitchers and even just everybody in the field throwing, they all get back to the right leg, and then they only go one way. The pitcher more distinctly because he's not moving as much as a player in dynamic motion, chasing a ball to catch it and then throw it, and especially the tennis player too. So I thought to myself, wow, how good is that? If we were in the middle and we have to shift to the right, then somehow we got to shift to the left. That's a lot of movement, a lot of do-ah-diddy going on. What if I just start back here, I just turn, and then from there I got only one way to really fire? And I said, wow, and I started doing it. And when you do that, number one, the greatest thing about it is if you start back here, it makes overswinging pretty hard. All right? you're going to start, you likely start losing your balance, and that's sending a big signal to your brain. Hey, whoa, watch out, man. We're losing our balance here. So preloaded heavy right, you just get that little bit of drill, you know, just a little bit of shift back here. It's probably no more than an inch or so. But when you do that, I like to think that you should feel a little bit of your right hip kind of sink a little bit, and your legs, you should start feeling the right leg receive weight from the back of your knee all the way up to the top of your belt up in here, and you're sitting on it just like you would if you just did that. In fact, if you were here correctly here, all you would have to do is go about like maybe 1 inch, and you should pick up your forward foot. I've had a lot of people setting up to a ball like this, and I ask them, where's your weight? If you draw a line down from here, and they say, oh man, I'm behind the ball. And I say, yeah, well, which way can you move your sternum, the top of your sternum 1 inch, and pick up the other foot? And they're standing there and they go, whoo! Yeah, the only thing you got behind the ball is your head. Everything is that way. I want everything here. I move 1 inch and I can pick it up here. So we actually have a feeling that we're maybe, like, as far as our upper body goes, we're playing a little bit uphill. Now, once you start turning, you'll get a little bit more sink. You'll feel the right leg. The turn will actually have the right leg, the right hip, excuse me, sink a little bit more and sink onto the leg, so you'll feel it. So now, just like the baseball pitcher and a tennis player, you sink. So now you can push off. You can't push off something you're not on. If most of us who start over here, how are you going to push off your back leg if you're not on it? And that's why, and the best way to see that is you see where people, their back leg is straightening. If the leg is straightening and going backwards, that means your weight's going there. Your lower body's going there. You're moving, you're pushing yourself ahead of the ball, basically in EBRT, end of backswing reverse tilt. So kind of settle in right here. Just feel that little sink. The right hip goes down. You should feel, might even feel a little bit of pressure in the top, just above your knee over here, because these muscles are stretching. And now you're there. And so once you get in there, it's just lift and go and hit it. Okay? And you're going to find that you'll be much more consistent in your hitting. So stand with a shadow at your back. Use that to see yourself. But in the end, all you got to do is get into that feeling of feeling a little bit in the right side. Just let it go. Preloaded heavy right, you'll find that your shifting your weight will be much more explosive, much more consistent. Your ball striking will be much more crisp and solid, and you'll be hitting it straighter and shooting those lower scores. So work on your preloaded heavy right. Your shadow's a good way to help you out. But again, your brain has to feel the difference of being here to throw. That little sink and load onto the leg. Sink, load, and fire. Okay? Well, that's it for the search for today, and I'll be speaking with you all again soon.